people, my name is Nicole and today I am finally back from school, which means that I have my entire book collection together. So I can finally film videos like this one, which require my whole book collection to be together. But today I want to talk about books that I have multiple copies of. So all of these are books that have some sort of meaning to me, whether that's because I read them when I was really young and they're just some of my childhood favorites, whether just because I emotionally connected with them a lot. So what I am not counting in this are books that I have ebooks of and physical copies of. And if you've noticed throughout my book hauls, sometimes I buy a hardcover copy of a book that I already have a paperback of. When I do that, I usually get rid of the paperback, so those are also not going to be counted in this. So let's just jump right in. The first book I have multiple copies of is Aragon by Christopher Paolini. This first copy that I have is the sort of original hardcover. I've had this since pretty much since it first came out. I think this edition's from like 2003. So I've had this since I was like 7. It's one of my all-time favorite fantasy series. I absolutely love Christopher Paolini. And then the second edition I have here is a collector's edition that I got 2 years ago, I think. I just found it in Half Price Books. It's like a British collector's edition, but it's a really nice like leather bound and it has the gold and it's just really pretty and I love it. The next book I have multiple editions of is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. These editions are actually almost identical. They're both these like tiny leather bound pocket sized editions of it. I also have an audiobook of it, which is again something I'm not really counting in this. This is only physical copies, like physical books. But I grew up reading the audiobook of this. At one point I wanted a physical copy, so I got this edition of The Hobbit, which is really pretty. It has this like gold leaf around the edges of the pages. And then at one point I got a set of the entire Lord of the Rings series that came with this one. So they are almost identical, slightly different colors, and one of them has gold on it, but other than that, they're even from the same publisher. The next book I have multiple copies of is The Giver by Lois Lowry. This is another one. I read it when I was really young, and this is one of the rare cases that I got a hardcover of it and I didn't get rid of the paperback, because the paperback I've had literally since before I can remember, and I just have an emotional connection to the paperback and to like this cover. So when I got a hardcover set, I think it was for like my birthday or Christmas a few years ago, of the entire series, I wanted to keep both. Next, I have Looking for Alaska by John Green, and this hardcover that I have actually isn't my first edition of the book. Not first edition, like first edition as in like the first one I owned. This was a signed one that I found in like Barnes & Noble, I think, a while ago, that I picked up and just gave away my other previous one just because I don't know, wanted a signed one for some reason. And then this is the 10th anniversary edition that has a bunch of bonus content. Then I have The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This one is the original first edition. I got it signed by both John and Hank when they went on tour back when Tiffany's first came out, and it makes me happy and I have an emotional connection to it. And then this one is literally the exact same book, but just with a different dust jacket on. It doesn't have any bonus content or anything fancy like that, but it's the Project for Awesome edition from 2014. So exact same book, but the proceeds for this one went to charity, and it was also like significantly more expensive because charity. But I don't know, it makes me happy. So then, continuing on the trend of the two books being the exact same, just with different dust jackets, Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. This is the edition I bought when it first came out, but I didn't pre-order, so I didn't get the special coloring book edition until I think that summer. Barnes & Noble was having some kind of like YA festival type thing, and they were giving away the coloring book covers, so I got one of those and then just picked up another edition of it at Half Price Books and put that on it. So I have the two identical editions just with different covers. Then the next book is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and I actually have 3 editions of this one. So going one by one, I have first my original first edition hardcover copy that this is the thing that I go to whenever I'm emotional, whenever I'm sad. I've reread this literally more times than I can count. The next one I got was this, it's like a UK special edition, special collector's edition, and it says Fangirl on the pages. And then it has a little bit of bonus content in the back. And then the last one I got is the American special edition, exclusive collector's edition. And this is the one that there were 3 different colors of it, and I am still strongly tempted to get the other 2 colors of it. This is the one from Chapters Indigo in Canada. So I ended up having to pay more for shipping for this book, but for some reason I was just really set on the yellow cover. But this one has the pretty bookmark and then on the inside it has art, and then there's also some exclusive content in the back. Next, I have Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, and this is actually one I talked about very recently because I just hauled this edition. This is the copy of it I got forever ago. I was probably like 9 when I first got this. I've read this numerous times. This is one of my favorite fantasy books. This is what originally got me into Brandon Sanderson, and this edition just happens to match the rest of my Brandon Sanderson books, so I like my books to look pretty on the shelf together. Next is Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. This is not the original edition that I had. I've actually now had, I think, 4 different copies of this book, and these are the 2 I still have, because the first 2 copies I had were just like the regular paperback. The first one, I think one of my sister's friends like borrowed it and then never gave it back. And so I didn't have a copy of the first book in the series for so long, and it made me mad. Finally got another one, another paperback, and then I just like realized that half of my books were in hardcover and half of them were in paperback. So I've started to collect the hardcover editions of the series. So this is the 3rd copy of the book I've had, and then this is the 10th anniversary edition that has a bunch of short stories in the back that are just extra things about the various characters. Some of them are prequels, some of them are scenes from other characters' points of view, just things like that. It's a lot of fun. And like finally Vampire Academy gets a cover that is not awful. Thank God. Now we're getting into the things that are harder for me to hold them all at once because they're like entire series that I have in multiple copies. But let's start off with The Lightning Thief by Percy Jackson. So this is the first edition of the book that I had. This one is, it's a mess. It's all torn up and it's kind of old. I've had it since I was probably 7 or 8, I think, or whenever it originally got published. But this is another one that I have an emotional connection to this original copy. So when I got all these other copies, I had to keep this one. It's not even on my shelf. It just sits up on top of my shelf with my copy of The Giver because like it doesn't look nice on the shelf. There's nothing else on the shelf that matches it. I just have an emotional connection and I can't get rid of it. So then I eventually replaced it with the hardcover to match the rest of my set. Then the 10th anniversary editions came out, so I have like 2 copies of each cover. And so there's the paperback that, as you will soon see, matches the rest of my paperbacks for the series. The paperbacks are what I usually have at school with me because they take up less space on shelves. And then I have the special 10th anniversary bonus material edition that's a hardcover and it looks really nice on the shelf, and I really wish they would do hardcovers in these covers for all the series because that would be awesome because this is so pretty. But it's like a Barnes & Noble exclusive collector's edition. It has a bunch of bonus content in it. And then, unsurprisingly, I have the rest of the series in both the hardcover and the paperback editions. The next series I have is the Infernal Devices. And I have these both in the original hardcovers. And then when they redid the covers, I got the paperback covers of each of them. And then for more big, heavy books that I want to put down, like immediately, I have the original hardcovers of the Mortal Instruments, and then I also have the new paperbacks of the entire series. And then for the last set of books, we're actually going to go down to my bottom shelf on this set of shelves because there's just too many of them for me to pick them all up individually. So the last set of repeating books that I have are my Harry Potter books, which are all on this bottom shelf. So I'll go through this shelf at some point later. I'll probably do some long, elaborate Harry Potter collection video. But for now, here's what I have. These are the original first edition hardcovers. These all have the Juniper Books Ravenclaw dust jackets on them. At some point, I do want to get another set of hardcovers. Again, this is just a me being vain about my shelves thing, so that I can have a set with the Juniper Books covers on them and then a set with the original covers on them because I am very emotionally attached to the original covers. Starting here and finishing up over here, we have the 15th anniversary, I think, paperbacks that they make up Hogwarts on the spine, and they have I really love these covers. They're like those covers. Y'all know what editions I'm talking about. And then over here I have this stack is the most of the British hardcovers and then the British paperback. For the British hardcovers I have Philosopher's Stone through Order of the Phoenix, and then for the paperbacks I have Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Half-Blood Prince, and Deathly Hallows. So it's one of those things that like I've been sort of collecting whenever I find one in half-price books. And then I have a Spanish edition of Philosopher's Stone, a Japanese edition of Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. Don't ask me why, I don't speak Japanese. And then I have the regular American paperbacks for the entire series. Okay, that's my Harry Potter collection. I don't think I have duplicates of anything else in here. I do have a lot of sort of random Harry Potter associated books that I'll go through at a later time. But those are all the books I have multiple copies of. I don't know, this may have been a bit of a self-indulgent video, but I kind of enjoyed it. So let me know if there's anything that like you guys are particularly emotionally attached to the point of indulging yourself and buying multiple copies, just because I think that's very telling of like what books matter to people. Let me know in the comments. I love you guys, and I will see you later. Bye!